Hi, everyone. My name is PaulineJo Adia. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I identify as a Filipino American therapist who was raised here, but has always been very involved and immersed in my culture of being a Filipino American. I've been with Larty for about 5 years. It'll actually be 5 years this summer. And I'm really excited for this milestone as it feels like it's going to be kind of the next chapter in my therapy journey. And in total, I've been in the social work field for over 10 years. And I'm happy to kind of keep doing what I do. With the fact that I've been with Larty Wellness for about 5 years, and I've also worked in an inpatient mental health hospital for almost 2 years, I am on track for studying and hopefully passing the LCSWC license here in Maryland. That stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker. Um, which will allow me to expand my work as both a social worker and a therapist. So while I don't particularly hold a specific certification outside of kind of the general requirement, I do hope in the next year or so that I can be an ADHD specialist. So, what that is someone who works with both teens and adults who suffer from having ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. There are multiple different types of disorders or different types of ADHD disorders. Um, and what has really drawn me to want to specialize in ADHD is that I find that alongside myself treating a lot of patients with anxiety and depression, the tertiary diagnosis I tend to see a lot in outpatient is ADHD. And also, I want to be able to help um, all of my clients thrive in spite of the fact that they may have this neurodivergent or this disability as a part of their life. That is a great question. Um, I really enjoy spending time with my 5-year-old Beagle and Basset rescue dog. I rescued him about a year ago. He has changed my life for the better. But when I'm not busy being a dog mom, um, my hobbies honestly really switch up every now and again. But lately, I've really been into like gaming and arcades. Um, I just think it's so much fun to play different games and like win different quests or prizes, whether it's like virtual or it's physical. Um, I also really enjoy when I'm not stuck to a screen and gaming. I love being outdoors, though it's been pretty cold here in Maryland. But when I can get outdoors, I really enjoy hiking. It does a lot of wonders for the mind, and ideally, you get to see something nice at the end while getting exercise. So I would say those are my top two kind of main hobbies on top of spending time with my dog right now. I've been on so many hikes, so it's very difficult to say there's one favorite hike. But here, maybe a hike that's nearby our main office in Laurel. It's actually in Virginia. It's called Old Rag. It is a very difficult hike, and actually to see the sun rise, which I really like sunrise hikes, you have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have to start hiking at 5 to get to the top at 7 o'clock just to see the most like amazing sunrise ever. That was a very memorable hike. Only thing I didn't like was it was very muddy going down. and it was muddy for like an hour. So the whole time I was like fighting for my life, hoping I didn't fall off the cliff. But I would definitely recommend, if you ever, whoever is watching this, if ever you get to go on a hike, any hikes in the Shenandoah are amazing. Really, I love that I've been challenged at LRT Wellness Group. I enjoy meeting new people of different backgrounds all the time. And even my clients that I've been seeing for years and years, I enjoy unraveling and learning new things every day. And so, mainly, I would say that I prefer focusing on working with adults. I feel that I really thrive there, and am ready to take a challenge, like whatever kind of comes my way. Or I believe that there is a couple of therapists out there for everyone. Well, there are a lot of great approaches, and there's no necessarily right or wrong way to do so. I really like to come in with a humanistic lens. What that means is, above everything that my client may come with or from, whether it's their status, whether it's their financial background, their educational background, where they come from with their family, what is their culture. We are all humans at the end of the day, and life is really, really hard. And so um, I love to come with the humanistic approach, knowing that we are all susceptible to life's challenges, but it's also a human thing for us to admit that we're suffering or that we are really struggling, and that no one is better than the other. And I really like the partnership type of approach with my clients. Like, it's not just me sitting here talking to any clients because I have experience or I work at a certain job. It's that we're partners together in change, and that we're here to collaborate with each other and really get to the root of the issue as the human that you are, and not all of these like societal expectations or all of these like different layers. Just at the root of it, that we are both human, and we're in this therapeutic journey together. Admittedly, I was trained to do the standard kind of CBT, or the TF-CBT, which is trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy, as opposed to kind of the regular cognitive behavioral therapy. I also was trained in cognitive processing therapy, as well as motivational interviewing. But as I've expanded my work, I really have enjoyed using acceptance and commitment therapy. While it's still under the sector of talk therapy, it's not like your traditional talk therapy. There's a lot of mindfulness based approaches to it. I do want to eventually learn more about DBT, and I'd like to do more work with relationships. So maybe like a interrelational type of intervention. Um, Alongside that, I also want to learn more about somatic approaches. So, like, ways that we can really start from the bottom up, especially with any clients that are challenged with trauma. It's not just about the mind and the mind experiencing it, but also about how the body has lived through and survived trauma. Um, and so I'm really looking forward to a lot of different trainings that I have planned for myself this year. I think that growth is going to be one of our best assets as a therapist. Um, if therapists go in believing that they only have one modality or one approach, and they keep that kind of cookie cutter way of thinking, what happens is it builds complacency, as well as it takes away that human approach, right? It treats everyone as the same, or that um, we only have like one path, or even that people are predictable, which they are not. They're actually very, very complex. And so I really like to embrace the approach of being a lifelong learner. I think it's the best asset, alongside other important assets, to have, to be a successful therapist. I also like to think of my caseload as seasons, just as seasons change, right? Sometimes I have a lot of teens that may be really struggling in school, or even actually a lot of college students, speaking of adults. But in maybe other seasons, I'll have people who are challenged with maybe their marriages, or their serious relationships. And then, while it feels like I have seasons of my client base being a majority of like a couple of like issues, I have sprinkled in all of the other kind of either little niches that I work with, or that some way, somehow, I know that I could help, or at least guide them in the right direction. This may sound kind of funny, but I think back to my childhood. Actually, I actually grew up feeling like a very lonely child. I was introverted. It was really hard for me to make friends. I felt like I culturally did not fit in. And so I always remember that little girl in my practice, in that as I grew up, I challenged myself to kind of dive right in and meet all these different types of people of different backgrounds, be friends, be their classmate, learn from them, they could learn from me, etc. And I try to take that same approach in therapy, knowing that I'm challenged with having a diverse population, and I'm not kind of forcing myself to just work with one population, knowing that at the end of the day, it's though in therapy we're not intended to be friends with the clients, right? The point of people coming to therapy, or one of the points, is that they want to have a human connection, and part of having a human connection is you need to be open. And in the same way that, that little girl in me so desperately wanted to be heard and wanted to have friends. And I remember how painful that was. I never want any of my clients to feel that way. So I try really, really hard to focus on the connection, whatever it is. It could be, our culture, it could be hobbies, our age, maybe similar lived experiences, and from there I like to build my relationships. And just remember that every single person deserves to be heard, no matter what their background is, no matter what their story is, what challenges they've faced. We all have a story, and I want to hear it. I know success can mean something different for everyone. In my case, and in the case of my work as a therapist, I would say success is that, one, I was able to help point my clients in a improved direction. So they came to therapy, they were looking for some type of change in their life, whether big or small. I still take that as a success, as well as knowing that they leave our work together feeling like they learned something, that they've grown, and that there is more confidence in navigating whatever they're navigating, whether I'm able to take my clients from the intake all the way to termination, or if they find, okay, maybe I learned I want to take my therapy in a different approach, or maybe that I'm like, okay, I'm maybe not ready, but I maybe will be ready one day. And I at least got to understand like what is even therapy, or what is the role of the therapist. I really want to meet my clients where they're at, and just knowing that I can make some type of difference or some type of impact to me is more, it feels the most successful, more than it is about like I have the fanciest interventions, or I have all of these certifications, or I have all of these fancy letters next to my name. Just knowing that I could empower my clients, that they can cope or overcome their challenges, and that they can be educated and use that power to better their life is enough. I would say my favorite part about working in the mental health field is that one day is not like the next, and that you are never bored. If you want a job to be bored, therapy is not it. But it is really cool having been a therapist for 5 years and hoping for more milestones to see my own clients have grown, but um, how I have also grown. And I believe in my spirituality that, we all have a role in our life. And I have always known that I was meant to be a helping professional in some way. And so I really enjoy learning, getting different perspectives, and then understanding like it's not just me in my head and in my life, right? There's so many ways of living and experiencing and just being other than me. So I really value um, all the things that my clients do teach me, as well as continue to teach me. That is a great question, because with passion, we still have the responsibility of needing to maintain it and to nurture it, right? Because any great strength can easily become a weakness, and vice versa, based on how things play out and how you contribute to it. But I would say the main thing is that self-care is not a desire to have, it is a necessity to survive as a therapist. And understanding that self-care is going to mean something different to every single person based on our um, own mental health background, right? The majority of mental health therapists usually have some type of specific challenges in their life that draw them to want to help others. And so we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves mentally. We need to take care of our bodies. And we also do need social connection, as much as we're constantly trying to emphasize or foster that within our own clients. And so I would summarize that self-care has to be a priority, and that every therapist will find unique ways that work for them, and that it's about their own journey and not necessarily um, copying someone else, or taking care of ourselves in the way that maybe someone else would take care of themselves. That is a challenging question, but I would probably say that I firmly believe that therapy is intended to be serious. There are a lot of serious conversations that happen in therapy, but to also remember that none of us are perfect, and we also deserve a little bit of lightness, or a little bit of laughter and fun in life, right? I really don't think we're going to make it out of life if we're completely serious all the time. And so I try to have an approach with my clients in which therapy again is is very serious, and we have to take it seriously, but that we also want to give ourselves space to kind of breathe and just be us, and not make it very cold and very like stoic, like you might see in movies where these therapists are meant to just be like a fly in the wall, and they're not really showing emotion, or they're not really showing that there's a connection, right? We still have to, it's uh having a good therapist is almost kind of like dating, right? You don't want to date someone that you feel like your personalities don't really click, or that like it's so serious and it's so tense, right? Therapy is also meant to be an enjoyable experience, if possible, because it is a very integral part of your life to take care of your mental health, and that it's important that um, you ultimately, as a from a client standpoint, to find a therapist that you feel like you really trust and that you can really kind of dance the dance with. And so I would say I stand out. I would stand out in that way, in that I don't want to be that therapist that is just a wall to talk to. I want to really interact with my clients.